Hey guys, welcome to another Damilola Forex Academy video. Today I'll be talking about an important composition of chart structure, which is fractal. When prices moves in various fractals. And it's important that we understand how to read fractals. So it's going to make us a better price action trader, as with the proper knowledge of reading fractals, it's going to help us to distinguish between different chart structures in the market. And this knowledge is very vital and it's going to help us to be better traders, take good entries, take good exits, and in general know how to read the market like a pro. So sit down, relax, and make sure you pay rapt attention to everything I'm going to be talking about in this video. It's a common knowledge that prices moves in chart structures. And these chart structures moves in fractals. The fractals that chart structure moves in are in different configurations. So we trade these chart structures looking at the likewise fractals and configuration of prices. If price is on a bigger fractal and we want to trade the bigger fractal, we are going to trade using similar and likewise fractal. While if we want to trade prices on smaller fractals, we are going to be looking at likewise configuration and look-alike of that same type of price movements. Structures move in different fractal configurations. Okay, chart structure moves in different fractal configurations. And it's also important to know that we categorize these fractals together. For example, if they are big fractals, we know that we are going to categorize these big fractals together and trade the big fractals. And if we are trading the small fractals, if we are looking at the small fractals, we know that we are going to categorize these small fractals together and trade the small fractals. We don't use judgments from the small fractals for the big fractals, and we don't use judgments from the big fractals to the small fractals. For example, if we are taking a trade using the small fractals, we are going to exit using the exit points given to us by these small fractals. And if we are taking entries using the big fractals, we are going to be using exits given to us by the big fractals. And this knowledge is very, very important. Okay, let's write that out. That's what we pick our entries and exits using likewise fractals. Okay, so that is what, just like I mentioned, any entry opportunity that a bigger fractal gives me. If I'm trading a bigger fractal, I will take my entry and exit using a bigger fractal. And if I'm trading a smaller fractal, I would trade and pick my exits using a smaller fractal. Okay, it's also important to note that whenever prices makes a bigger fractal, there are also smaller fractals that prices makes within these bigger fractals. So I'm going to go over to a clear chart to show you exactly how prices makes this big and this small fractals, and now we can be able to use the knowledge to pick very great trade opportunities. Chart structures moves in push, exhaustion, push. Now let's assume that this is for a big fractal right now. Clearly, prices moves on push, exhaustion, push, but prices also make these movements and gives opportunities on small fractals on this same movement. Okay, for example, like we said, right here, prices makes what? Push, exhaustion, push. This is very normal. But now, in actuality, prices moves in this type of way. To make that push, prices is first going to make that push on a smaller fractal like this. Okay, this is going to be the push, then this is going to be the exhaustion on smaller fractals before prices goes again and continue the push. So this same movement is what prices make. This same movement right here is the same as this same movement. But if we are using the big fractals alone, we know clearly that what for a bullish structure, which is what prices is, we are going to take our entry at the break of the resistance right here using the bigger fractals. We are going to take up that resistance. We are going to enter the trade at the break of the resistance and take profits at the next resistance zone. Okay, so this is clear. This is clear. But on the smaller fractals, we can be able to take opportunities for a sell at this point. We can be able to take opportunity for a sell, and we can be able to use the smaller fractals to have an early buy entry at this point and take profits at the end of the change of structure of the smaller fractal. And now wait for the big fractals that is right here now. Wait for the big fractal change of structure, just like we talked about right here, of the big break of resistance. That is this particular resistance right here. We'll now wait for prices to break this before we now use the big structure right here of push, exhaustion, push to buy at the break right here and take profit at the big resistance. Okay, so right now, let me go ahead and show you an opportunity that we could have taken on the smaller fractals for our entry. Even for, okay, so for example, prices started right here by moving on a bullish structure in a smaller fractal. Okay, so at this point right here, prices change structure on the smaller fractals by creating a lower low right here. Prices broke the higher low structure by creating a lower low. That is a low that is lower than the previous low. So this is a good sell entry point for us for the retracement. We can sell right here, just like we pointed out. We can sell right here, put our stop loss above, and sell to the end of the exhaustion right here. The end of the exhaustion would be a 61.8 exit. Okay, so we can be able to sell, and now we can use this small fractal to get entry opportunities and exit opportunity also. Whereas if we were only trading the big structure right here, we would not have seen this particular sell opportunity. We would just have waited until prices continues this push, exhaustion push, and give us an entry point at the break of the resistance right here. Okay, and bought to the take profits right here. But using the smaller fractals, we're able to see opportunities at the break of structure at this point. At the break of structure at this point, we're able to see the opportunity, sell to the lowest point right here. Probably this will be at the 61.8. Then at this point, we're also able to buy, to have an early buy entry, and also, okay, and also buy to the end of the change of structure. Okay, so remember that what prices started this bullish structure, prices started this bearish structure at this point. Okay, this was where prices started the bearish structure. Okay, so at this point right here, prices broke the bearish structure and started the bullish structure by what? By creating higher highs right here. As soon as what? Prices pushed up and we had a candlestick close above this point, prices now has an higher high, that is an high that is higher than the previous high. We can put our stop loss here and now buy to the end of this bearish movement. Okay, so we can now be able to buy and buy for at to this particular point right here, or buy to the peak at this particular point right here. Okay, so knowing fully well that what after we buy to this point or to this point, as soon as what we see prices break above this point, we'll now switch back to our bigger fractal of what? Of lower, okay, this is a low, this is an higher low, this is an high, this is an higher high. So we'll now switch back to this bigger fractal and buy at the break of the resistance and buy to the next resistance zone right here. Okay, so the knowledge of fractals can help us to be able to take opportunities on the smaller fractals. Can help us take sell and buy opportunities on the small fractals. So while we know that what on the big fractals we can still be able to pick our opportunity on the big fractals and still capitalize very well on it. Okay, let me show you the same example for bearish structure right now. Okay, so let's still write it out that what this is big fractal. Okay, so for the big fractals, for a bearish structure, we know that our price moves in lower highs and lower lows. Push, exhaustion, push. And we know that what for big fractals, we want to sell, we'll sell at the break of the support right here. We'll sell at the break of the support. We'll put our stop loss here and sell to the next support zone. Okay, now for the small fractals, we can be able to capitalize on opportunities within the same big fractals and capitalize on it, because knowing fully well that what this big fractals in actuality it moves like this. This is how it is going to move. While it is making its big fractals, it's also making small fractals. And we can be able to capitalize on the knowledge of these small fractals to pick very good entries. Okay. Okay, so this same movement right here is this same movement in real life if we want to take advantage of the opportunities on the small fractals. Now, on these small fractals, after this bearish push right here, we saw this exhaustion begin. Now, this exhaustion, where could we have gotten an entry point for this exhaustion? Now, taking advantage of the small fractals right now for a trade, would have gotten the opportunity after prices created an higher high right here. That is an high that is higher than the previous high. As soon as what we see an higher high right here, it's a good buy entry indication for us. We are going to buy right here and take profit at the highest point right here, which could be a 61.8. Okay, so now we've capitalized on a particular opportunity that we would not have seen on the bigger fractals. Okay, so now where the prices change structure now and we can be able to sell for an opportunity even before the major opportunity that the big fractal is going to give us. Prices change structure at this point right here when price created a lower low. That is a low that is lower than the previous low. Okay, so we could be able to sell at the close right here and what put our stop loss above and sell what to the lowest point right here. Or we can sell to where the chart structure changed, or we could sell to the lowest points of the lower low right here. Okay, so this is also an entry opportunity for us and we can be able to take profits. Now, after we take profits at this point right here, if prices decide to now close below this point, we'll now revert back to our bigger structure of what? Of push, exhaustion, push, break of these supports. Okay, we'll now know that what will now sell to the lowest point right here, or even use the AB equal to CD. Okay, we can now be able to even use the AB equal to CD, that is movement AB, to now measure the movement AB, C, to now measure the C to D for take profits. Okay, if you are using the AB equal to CD chart pattern for take profits. Okay, but clearly we know that what this movement A will now reverse back to our bigger structure, that what this same push movement right now will now be this same push movement, okay, and exhaustion movement is now the new structure, and what it will now be push, exhaustion, push, break of a support to the next support zone. Okay, so this is how to be able to capitalize on big fractals and on small fractals for entry opportunity. So I'm going to be going over to the chart right now to show you a real life example of how these fractals work and how you can be able to use it to your advantage. In this example, I'm going to be showing you prices movements in the bigger fractals, and I'm also going to be showing you how you can capitalize on these prices movements using the smaller fractals. Okay, so on the bigger fractals right now, this is a push, exhaustion, higher high, then prices broke the structure at this point. On the bigger fractal, this will be my sell entry points after prices broke the structure. Okay, this is the structure right here. Push, exhaustion, push, and this was where prices changed structure by creating a lower low, breaking below the higher high. So using the bigger fractals, like I said, this would have been my entry point, just like we have seen right here, and I would have been able to sell to the lowest point right here. I would have looked for a reason to exit my trade right here. Okay, now let's go ahead and keep analyzing. Okay, on the bigger fractals right now, this is push, then a buy entry point to this particular point for an exhaustion at the 61.8. Then prices came back to this point right here again before prices went back to the 61.8 and now broke this structure right here, broke this ascending structure, okay, because price was creating an ascending structure. We can see this ascending trend line here. We can see that price was creating an ascending structure before breaking. Okay, so on the bigger fractals, this is my entry point right here. Okay, that is this. This is how it looks like. Prices broke the ascending trend and ascending structure right here. As soon as prices broke it, okay, this is my sell entry points. Knowing fully well that what price is no more on higher highs and higher lows for this particular structure. Now instead, prices has broken it and created a lower low. So this would be my sell entry points on this particular trade using the big fractals. But right now, on the small fractals, how can we be able to take advantage of some of these opportunities? On the small fractals, instead of using this and this, okay, which is for the big fractals, we can be able to look for a smaller fractal right now. That is, look for smaller configurations right now, which was push, exhaustion, and push. Then prices change structure on the smaller fractal at this point by creating an higher high right here. Okay, so as soon as we see prices create the higher high right here, that is an high that is higher than the previous high, it's a good buy entry point for us, and we would have got to the highest point right here, which is the 61.8, while looking for a previous low to put our stop loss. We can go to the smaller time frames to get our stop loss, or put our stop loss at this point right here. Okay, so after that is done, we saw a push, exhaustion on the smaller fractals right now, push. Okay, prices came to this point here for an exhaustion. Okay, similar level, prices did not close below before prices now got a lower high and was broke below at this point. Okay, so at this point, when prices had a lower low, is a good sell entry point for us, and we can be able to sell at this point and take profit at the next support zone. Okay, all of these zones right here are good for take profit, while we can put our stop loss above here or go to a smaller time frame for a stop loss. Okay, so now also at this point we saw prices make the push. At this point we saw an exhaustion, and on the smaller fractals again we saw prices make a lower high right here. Okay, so after the lower high we can be able to sell after prices breaks this lower low right here. After prices breaks this low right here, we could be able to sell using the smaller fractals and make a view of that opportunity instead of just waiting for the bigger fractals of this to capitalize on an opportunity. Okay, so this is the bigger fractals. Okay, price was moving on. This was a low, this was a low, this was a high, this was an higher low, and this was an higher high. Prices at this point were starting the bullish structure, but prices broke the bullish structure right here by creating a lower low at this point. Okay, so instead of just waiting for opportunities on the bigger fractals, that is waiting for this lower low to form, instead we've been able to find opportunity, for example, in this same movement of push, lower high, and push at this point, sell at the break. Okay, sell at the break, prices sell at the break and take advantage of such opportunities. Okay guys, so this is how to analyze using the big and the small fractals, and you need to go ahead to your chart, master it, and learn how to take advantage of this. So if you enjoyed the video guys, do like, share, subscribe, and I'm going to be sharing more videos to make sure everyone reads the chart like a pro and everyone becomes profitable. Thank you.